I have this other version using a different bottle, and this has a Massimo's logo that's in a grape color, which is used as a signature down here at the bottom, and I'm using the USP as a headline. Push that up a little bit because I have to add in advertising copy. Command Shift R, right align that, and I'm going to borrow my text from this other one. Command V paste, and perhaps my ad copy will be in here. The logo for this one is in Myriad, so perhaps I should use Myriad for all my ad copy. About a semi-bold, perhaps italic, perhaps not. And then this should probably be Myriad. Although I could have a contrasting font. You could contrast. You could have two families and use one or two styles of each of the two families so that you don't have an abundance of typefaces. But in choosing typefaces, they should, again following the rule of contrast, be completely different. If they're different, make them really, really different. So if I use a serif and a sans serif together, I'm usually safe that they will not be similar. I just might leave that in Arno Pro as a contrasting typeface, and then decide just how much space I need for this. It's kind of crowded by the onion, I think. Go a little bit smaller, and I might justify that. I might not. If I can justify that and make it 18 point, then the spacing probably wouldn't be too bad. Maybe with the last line centered, that looks pretty good. Okay, it could be I need to do something like put it in a mortise, a box, and you'll see that in advertising a lot. Actually, I have an example here. I just found this picture online while I was looking for something else, and this is an old style copper plate printing block with a hole cut in it. This is a mortise where something is cut in, and then you would add specific additional copy in there that might change from time to time. This is something you see in ad layouts from time to time where you actually have a box with the text in it. I'm going to make this box, actually I might again use a color from the ad, although it looks a little dark to me. So I might go to my swatch palette and pull this swatch down here to add it to the list. And then for this swatch, and notice since I sampled that from an RGB image, even if it was a CMYK image, as it appears on the screen here, the representation of it is RGB. So I get an RGB image when I use my eyedropper to sample a color. If I want it to be a process color, I just need to double click on that and change that from RGB to CMYK. And then I might want a lighter version of it, like maybe 50%. So it's a little too light, maybe 75%. So I'm using a color that appears in the end, but a lighter version of it. And then Command B text frame options, I might want to center the text vertically within there and add an inset so that the type doesn't run into the edge of the frame. I'm going to go in these 6 points. Baseline options. If I'm centering stuff vertically, I usually use X height for the first baseline so that the space above the first line looks more similar to the space below the last baseline. And that kind of messed up that. Squeeze that in a little bit more. I could go down a little bit here. And what else can I do to make it look more like it belongs in the ad? I have corner options. Where I might prefer something like that. It looks a little fancier. Or rounded corners or beveled corners. So I could change that. That might be a little too fancy because the label is very clean and modern looking. So maybe I'll just do beveled corners. And then I could perhaps put a stroke on it that is something that sort of goes with the column drawing on the bottle. Like maybe something like this. Make that stroke maybe white or black, so that it has good contrast there. Let's see, let's try black. No, I think maybe white, so it's a little more on the subtle side. Maybe that's too heavy a stroke. And it doesn't fit that well in that size, so I just might change that. So there's that look. I don't know that actually goes with this label, but that's one way of resolving what you do with type when you have mostly an image background. You can reverse these so it's a white frame with a green stroke, and make sure that green stroke is, I think now, 100% of that color rather than a tint. that still looks like it's kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. I could go to my object pull down and under effects, transparency. I don't want the object to be transparent. I want the fill of the shape to be transparent. So I could reduce the transparency of that shape. It doesn't change the transparency of the stroke. It doesn't change the transparency of the type. But I can make the fill more transparent so that might look more appropriate with my ad. So those are things you can consider. If you have an ad like this where you've got a lot of open area, then you can probably figure out how to put the text in without resorting to any sort of mortise box. Now my logo down here, which is a grape color, let me show you this in overprint preview so you have an idea what this actually looks like. You can see that doesn't stand out very well. But because this is an EPS and I'm working in InDesign, I can right click on the image and say edit original, hopefully with Illustrator. If I want to make sure, I can say edit with Illustrator. There's the logo. What if I don't want it to be purple? Maybe if I change this to white and just click on this and then turn the stroke off and then save this again. And it immediately updates in InDesign. And then I might want to put this over here so everything is right aligned in the ad. If I want to keep my alignments all the same, I can make that right aligned and do away with the box. Maybe put it up here. All of this is up to you as the designer, exactly where you put the text and what size type and what typeface you use, whether or not you use Massimo's as the headline or you use the tagline or the USP, unique selling proposition, what was old is new again. Should that be the headline? It's up to you. I'll save this. Once you are satisfied with your ad, Command-Shift-S, save as, your last name DL8C, and then Command-E, export as your last name DL8C as a PDF for print. It should be the commercial print standard, which is PDF X18 2001. All pages, well, it's only one page, so it will be all pages. View PDF after exporting. Compression, leave this alone. This is commercial print standard, 300 pixels per inch. Marks and bleeds. All printers marks use document bleed setup. Once again, we do not have a slug area set up, so you don't have to worry about slug area. Output, convert to destination. Document CMYK US web coded is the standard output. Advanced, you can ignore this. Security, you can ignore that. Summary, you can ignore that. So, export. When that is completed, it should open up in Acrobat. And there it is with my marks and bleeds. Close that. I also want this packaged. Package is under the File pull-down. Package, Control-Alt-Shift-P, or on the Mac, Command-Option-Shift-P. Summary, 3 fonts, linked images, colors are 4-color process. We can check that. Fonts, I'm using 3 fonts. I have Arno Pro Bold Caption that I use in my corporate signature, which is up the left side margin. I have Arno Pro Bold Italic Display for my headline. I have Myriad Pro Semi-Bold for my logo. This is actually inside the logo. If I had converted this to an object instead of using type in the logo, then it wouldn't call for a font here at all. Links and images. I have 2 images. They are the PSD, that's the background, and the EPS for the logo. Colors and inks, there should only be the 4 process colors. Print settings you can ignore, plugins you can ignore. Package. Save first. Okay, well, I think it's saved. Continue. I don't like to see packages named folder. I like them to be PKG, so when I see them, I know that it's packaged from InDesign and it contains everything that's needed for the project. Copy fonts, except activated from Adobe fonts and non-Adobe CJK fonts. I don't think I'm using any of those, so I'm not going to worry about that, but I'll say, yes, copy all those fonts. Copy the link graphics. Update graphic links in the package. I don't care about using document hyphenation exceptions because I haven't set up any document hyphenation settings. Fonts and links from hidden and non-printing content. I don't have any hidden or non-printing content. if I had other versions of the logo or things like that that were on hidden layers, and I wanted to be able to work with these on another computer someplace else without taking my computer with me, then I might want to include that so that they would be there on the artboard and not have missing links. Select PDF preset, and as you can see, it is showing PDF X1A 2001 modified because it is showing the last PDF setting that I used. And I used PDF X1A 2001, but I modified it to include marks and bleeds. I could view the report, but I don't have to. Package. There's a warning that restrictions apply to some fonts. I'm not going to worry about that right now. And when that's completed, I should find that on my desktop. And I see document fonts, there's the 3 fonts that are used. Links, there are the 2 images that are used, the EPS file and my Massimo 8B file, or in your case, your last name 8B as a PSD. Here's my IDML, here's my InDesign file, and here's my print ready PDF. And that's all there is to 8C. Now you have to decide, is this the best place for the model? Is this the best arrangement of the photo? Does the type fit with the photo the way you want it to? Is it effective? Where do you put the logo? Do you put it at the top? Do you put it at the bottom? Make sure you include the USP, the text, the logo, and the signature, Massimo's Foods Inc., San Francisco, CA. All that has to be in there somewhere, but how you arrange it is up to you. Don't just copy anything that I've done. I don't know that what I'm doing is correct. It may not be the best answer, and it kind of depends on your bottle design and your photograph layout.